Hello, I am Melanie Tonia Evans, and I would like to thank Minds Journal for collaborating with me and for hosting this event. It's really an honor to be here. So, hello, everybody, whoever is here, who is watching this live. It's beautiful to have you here, and thank you for joining me. So, my talk is about thriving after narcissistic abuse, and I feel qualified to share this information with you because once upon a time I was narcissistically abused by a man who I thought was my one and only. I thought that he was the person I was going to share my life with. And at the time when I was going through the breakdown of spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical and financial abuse, I was diagnosed. I ended up so sick with what I was going through. I was diagnosed with a complete psychotic and adrenal breakdown that I was told I would never, ever recover from. But I didn't accept that prognosis. And as I was looking around for ways in which I could heal and recover, I was being told by abuse forums and other people, and even psychologists and counselors, you will never be the same again. And the medical profession had told me that I would need 3 antipsychotics to even be able to function, and that I would never again return to who I was before I'd had the breakdown from narcissistic abuse. Now, through an incredible experience that I had, which was an absolutely spiritual epiphany, I decided that I wasn't going to accept that prognosis. And I really did believe that there had to be a reason for what I'd been through, and there had to be a way that I could recover. And a part of that epiphany was about that this was about the inner work. And I'd been in personal development for years, and I really had thought that I'd done the work on myself to be able to get relationships right. So I was kind of shocked when I'd discovered I was in the most abusive situation of my life and stuck and hooked in there. But what happened through my epiphany was this incredible awareness that he had actually been reflecting back to me all the ways that I hadn't been self-partnered, and I hadn't yet been healed up within myself. And this wasn't about victim shaming and blaming. It was about massive awarenesses that made sense. So, for example, the ways that I'd always been hard on myself and I'd never unconditionally loved and supported myself or self-soothed myself. Rather, I'd been that really strict um, master to myself where I'd said, Melanie, I can't even like you, let alone love you, if you don't lose 6 pounds, or if you don't get your to-do list done, or if you're not getting approval from this person, or if they're not, granting you what you need to feel whole. Well, it must mean that you're unworthy and you're unlovable. And here I had a person in my life who was always telling me how I wasn't good enough and how I wasn't measuring up and how I wasn't loving him the right way. And I was damned if I did and I was damned if I don't. And in my epiphany experience, I realized that he was mirroring so many ways in which I'd actually been talking to and been in relationship with myself. And I had always been out of seeking, trying to get love, approval, and security and survival from outside of myself. And there had been that broken little girl inside of me who was terrified of abandonment and would cling and hang on when things were horrible rather than love myself enough to pull away and say no more and take care of myself. So, what ended up happening was in this journey, in my complete and utter breakdown, where I was 80 pounds, I hadn't really eaten a proper meal for about 6 months. I was lucky to get an hour's sleep. I shook, I sweated. I'd had a complete psychotic and adrenal breakdown that I was told was completely unhealable. In this epiphany, I decided that I was going to go medication free and I was going to heal myself. And I sought out that in a relationship, and I call it self-partnering, and how to heal my subconscious inner programs from the inside out to make it all about me and up-leveling the parts of me that were hooked into him and trying to get him to be the savior of my wounds, whereas he was really the messenger of them. So this led to a profound journey of learning about quantum inner dynamics and eventually to the discovery of quantum freedom healing, which I channeled and put together and started using on myself. And what I discovered was I was healing the unhealable. I had things like agoraphobia and post-traumatic stress disorder, fibromyalgia, the adrenal malfunction, and so many things. And I was actually able to target the traumas that were in my body generating those things and release them and bring in source light to heal what I couldn't heal. And I was resetting. But I wasn't just resetting, I wasn't just recovering or surviving what I'd been through. He had become absolutely irrelevant because I knew it wasn't about him. It was about healing me. And I was able to detach and not hand over any more narcissistic supply. And I was able to up level and stand up. And I was able to cut him off. And I was able to do that really effectively. But then it was all about healing myself as well. And I discovered in my recovery that I wasn't just a survivor, that I started coming out of things like the fears of what other people thought of me, the fears of being able to lay boundaries. And I was able to stand up and start being my authentic self and show up as an adult in my own body looking after me. And my life took off in ways and recovered and rebuilt in ways that I never, ever thought were possible. And at the time, I really just thought I was saving my own life and soul and sanity. I had no idea that this was going to be a global mission, which would involve touching the lives now of millions of people and being now spread through 130 different countries. I really had no idea that that was going to happen. I love what Louise Hay said when she said, when people asked her how she started Hay House, she said, I opened the mail and I answered the phone. And that's really all I did. All I did was I started sharing with people my experiences. I started performing Quanta Freedom Healing on people. And then I had specialists and doctors and domestic violence workers and psychologists were getting in contact with me, and they said, what's happened to my patient or my client? They were so stuck in the obsession and the trauma, and nothing was changing for even years. And then all of a sudden, something switched inside of them, something shifted, and they're different now. What happened? Before I knew it, Quanta Freedom Healing had taken off to the extent that I was having referrals and I was healing 7 days a week, people, and I had waiting lists that were months long. And I knew that I needed to devise a program to help people heal where they didn't need me one-on-one, because I couldn't heal everybody. So the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Program was created, and it's now in its third version of upgrades and updates over the last 10 plus years. And what I discovered with this program and the beautiful community global forum that we built and so many other things around the program is that people were actually healing faster than the one-on-one healings with myself, because they could do the healings as often as they needed to. They could spend a whole day doing the healings and shifting out trauma and bringing in the light. And it became such an accelerated process for their Thriver recoveries, which was just absolutely beautiful. So this is why I became a narcissistic abuse recovery expert, not because I did some doctorate or study and I thought, well, that's a field I'd love to get into. Before it happened, I say for me, because it gave me my best life. It allowed me to heal the parts of myself that were unconsciously unhealed and I'd always struggled with. It forced me to my knees to free myself from those, to free myself from him, which granted me my most expansive, empowered, gracious, honest, empowered life that I ever could know I could have. But I didn't know it was gonna do that, and I didn't know that I was gonna have the passion and the mission and the duty, the absolute duty, to help other people get out of the bowels of hell that narcissistic abuse is, to be able to also come back from that and survive and then thrive. So, I just want to, talk a little bit about what narcissistic abuse is and how you know you're being narcissistically abused, because it's a word that gets bandied around and thrown around a lot. So, how we know we're being narcissistically abused is, well, first of all, with that person, there are things like they don't take responsibility for what they do wrong. They step on your toe. They really don't see you as a blood and bone autonomous human being. Therefore, they're careless, they're neglectful, they are abusive, they fly off the handle, and they can say the most horrible things and do the most horrible things, and they can switch on a dime. And when they hurt you and you respond to that, well, then they double down and they make you even more wrong. And it's cruel and it's heartbreaking. And when you try to hold these people accountable, they will twist and they will turn. They will go off topic. They will bring up things from your past that they will throw in there. They will call on allies. They will say, this person thinks this about you and this person thinks that about you. They may stonewall you and refuse to have a conversation. They may threaten you with abandonment. They will twist and turn, and you literally feel like you are arguing with a 5-year-old in an adult's body, and you need to hit your head against a brick wall because you feel like you are going crazy. So there's quite a few things, but that's probably the most significant thing that you can understand about if you're being narcissistically abused. And these people pathologically lie. They're not even good liars because they're living as a false self in a false narrative. What happens is they will tell you a lie and then they'll forget the details they've told you or that you were there, and then they'll come up with the story again and it's changed. And because this is the level of arrogance and superiority. And the superiority is, I'm superior, you're inferior, and you just need to deal with it. You just need to deal with who I am and give me what I want regardless. And if you don't, well, then you're going to pay a price. That's what happens with narcissists. So, what happens to you is absolutely post-traumatic stress disorder happens. You start being anxious, you start feeling triggered, you start feeling and acting in ways that you never thought you could feel and act. And you start feeling like your life force is sucked out of you. You may be getting things like fibromyalgia, where everything starts to ache. You can have sleeping and eating disturbances, and you start feeling isolated. Because often these people, we call them street angel, home devil, and they're very good at grooming everybody around you so that they think he or she is such a wonderful, lovely person. And therefore, there must be something wrong with you. And this is what they set up. So you start feeling isolated. You're in shame. You're in blame. You're confused. You think you may be the problem. You don't know. And every time you try to stand up to this person and you try to have some rights or you try to say what's happening, you get accused of being oversensitive, of causing trouble, of wanting an argument. You are being invalidated. You're being abused. So everything, the 4 pillars of humanity inside your inner subconscious being, which is love, approval, security, and survival, all of those end up under threat because a narcissist is a parasite who is mining and exploiting you. The name of the game for a narcissist is, if I can control you and I can trigger you and I can get you to react, it means that you're the wrong one, you're the bad one, I'm the good one. And also, too, I am going to punish you to the point where you need to submit. You need to prove your allegiance and your love to me. and you need to give me stuff. You need to, and this is how they keep siphoning us out, literally all the way to our emotional, mental, physical, spiritual bankruptcy. And we get very, very sick. So, what makes people susceptible to narcissistic abuse, as I was once susceptible to them? Well, really, it comes often from our childhood. Maybe we had a narcissist that we got brought up with. Maybe we weren't allowed to have our opinions, our voice, our truth, our values, and make a stand for them. We were punished if we tried to be ourselves. We felt criticized, rejected, abandoned, or punished if we spoke up. So we didn't speak up. We tried to keep the peace. We'd get a feeling that something's wrong or not right, but we just internalize it and not say anything. We didn't know how to lay boundaries. We didn't know how to self soothe ourselves and pull away and say, all right, I need to take care of myself. You're abusive, and I can take care of myself. I can be self generative. Rather, what happened is we learnt through our childhood or other experiences that what we would do is when somebody hurt us, we'd put all of our focus on them and we'd say, well, how can I please you and appease you and give you what you need so that you can stop hurting us, so that I can get some love, approval, survival, and security from you? So we get trauma bonded. So there's more to it, but they are the basic fundamentals of how we've ended up like this. And it can be very, very incredibly intelligent, capable, high functioning people, very able to achieve in their life and very able to, often the go to people that will hold up and keep the fires burning and the roof over our heads and the food on the table, and we're great for other people in drama and difficulty. And those are the people that often get narcissistically abused, because the narcissist comes along and it's a mess and things are a mess and they are unaccountable and they do terrible things and there's lots of messes that they create in their wake, and we knuckle down and we fix it and we jump in there and we lecture and prescribe and we try and put everything back together. And narcissists know who is going to keep the fires burning and the roof over their head. Who is going to support them and enable them to be a narcissist. And it's high functioning, very capable people. But what's happened is we've taken way too much responsibility for irresponsible people rather than standing back and letting them take responsibility for themselves and letting them crash and burn. And that's what we hadn't learned how to do. And that's part of boundary function. So, how do we take our power back from narcissistic abuse? You have to detach. The narcissist is after narcissistic supply, which literally means your life force. Think Dementor in Harry Potter. It really is that creepy, and that is the truth. This is sucking your soul. It is sucking your life force. Think of the metaphor of a vampire. A vampire is the living dead who needs the life force, the blood from humans to have a faux life. A narcissist has divorced their inner being, their true inner self, which is their connection to source and life force. They've crushed it because they've decided that it's not good enough to get its needs met. They've created a fictitious character in its place, which is the false self. And the false self is an insatiable black hole, like a vampire, can't create its own energy, doesn't have a connection to the inner being and source. And what it is doing is feeding like a black hole, sucks celestial bodies to be a black hole. The black hole that is the narcissist is sucking attention, life force, resources, your energy, your sexuality, whatever it is that they're after, to prop up the false self. And the false self is an ego run amok. It's interested in money, acclaim, status, how I look, what people think of me, how I'm feared, how I have the power to affect another person so dramatically and emotionally. when you're in breakdown and you are begging and pleading and crying and screaming, which narcissists drive you to, it is triple A grade narcissistic supply to this person, because it says to them, look how superior I am to affect another person so significantly. So with a narcissist, the more you try to get in there and get them to get it and plead and fight back, you are feeding the bear. It's like a blood to a shark. They don't care about the details you're saying. They don't care about any of it. It's irrelevant. They are not after relationship, commune. They're not after teamwork or union or solution building or caring about you as a blood and bone autonomous human being. You are a prop. You are a tool to mine, to exploit. You are the host, they're the parasite. And that's the truth. Whether the narcissist is a parent, a love partner, a sibling, a neighbor, a friend, a therapist, anybody, a work colleague, a boss, anybody in your life at all, that's the deal. That's the deal. So, how do we recover from a narcissist? We have to detach. You have to detach. And then what is necessary is to self-partner and to come home to self. And this is so, so hard to do, because you're going to be in aftershock when you let go of a parasitical connection with somebody who's abusing you, and you let go. You feel like you're going to die, because there is an absolutely bizarre peptide addiction, which is a physiological addiction, cellular, going on in your body. You feel like you're trying to get off heroin. And this shocks people, and it shocked me before I understood it. You have to know the ways to heal that, to get free of that. Otherwise, you will break no contact over and over again. You will obsess about what happened over and over again. You won't be able to stop spinning your wheels in your head about what happened. And it's like those original bullets that shot you, that wounded you. You're shooting yourself with the same bullets 1,000 times over every single week. And you just get sicker and sicker and sicker, even if you get away. Sadly, that is standard survivor. And I'm so not up for that, because most people that just break away from the narcissist end up with PTSD, fibromyalgia, obsessive thinking, a diminished sense of self and life and others, and trust in self and life and others. And they don't get a thriver life. They're very lucky to be able even to recover the life they once had. They usually don't. And the reason is because they've never healed on the inside. They're trying to manage their wounds that they've never healed. What is so beautiful about the Thriver Way to Heal is we heal these for real from the inside out in a quantum way. So what happens is you release the traumas that are generating these different conditions and feelings and obsessive thoughts and connections and addictions and all of the trauma bonds, and you go free. And when you go free, the narcissist has become a catalyst. They're a catalyst to bring me to my knees to do this very important inner work, to evolve and graduate myself beyond where I was susceptible and beyond my trauma and my wounds. Then the narcissist becomes quite repulsive. Not in a way where you're obsessing and you're angry. It's just like, oh, you are not my reality at all. I wouldn't touch you. I wouldn't go near you. And it is such a relief. And even if you're co-parenting, which becomes evolved thrive of parallel parenting, you and your children can fare incredibly, even if the narcissist is still having contact. We have thousands of people in our community who are successfully doing that, and the children are doing incredibly at any age. So, how have people been able to do this? Because this is unique. You won't hear this very often. What you will hear is when you tune into anybody's narcissistic abuse forums, it's all about the narcissist, and there's no solutions to heal for real. And they may give you some strategies and some understandings, but it really is like ice cream on top of a cone of poop. the poop's still there. Okay. So I'm really passionate about helping you get rid of the poop so that any ice cream you're putting on, any of the good stuff is going into the cone. It's going into you and it's changing your life for real. So, how we do that in our community is the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Program. So, going back to the start of my story, when I started using Quanta Freedom Healing to heal on the inside the unhealable, and then I put those into a program. It is the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Program, which hundreds of thousands of people from all over the world access. And we have thousands upon thousands of graduates, people who have used NARP, as we call it, NARP, to heal what they just couldn't heal any other way. So, you may want to take these details down, but if you go to Melanie Tonia Evans, which is my name, .com/N for Nelly, A for Apple, R for Rabbit, P for Peter. All right. And you can check out all of the details of NARP. And if you want to come into one of my free 2-part masterclasses, which explains deeper because it's a big topic. It's a huge topic. I've only been able to brush on it today. Okay. And I hope it's already blowing your mind because the truth will set you free. But this takes you on a deeper journey of that, my 2-part masterclass. And you can also experience a Quanta Freedom Healing for free. So all you have to do is go to recoverhealthrive.com. recoverhealthrive.com. All right. So what I'd like to do now is answer some questions, any questions that you may have, you know, and nothing's off the table. Please ask me anything that you would like to ask. All right. All right. So Sean is saying, I, as a man, am avoiding the abuse from women these days, especially the third and fourth wave feminists and men who are this way. I've noticed drug abusers, past and present, like cocaine and alcohol abusers, are bad for this, extremely manipulative, deceitful, and destructive, as they always offer a service or they like you when they're getting supply and use out of you, life destroying, horrible humans. And Sean, I just really want to say, and, when we've been abused and we've been narcissistically abused, it can be like this radar of they're everywhere. And I really want to give you some hope. And this is common, and it's really interesting that you're feeling this because it's really normal that you are. I want to normalize it. What the truth is, for a potential soulmate, and what I call a soulmate is somebody that we can have a productive, conscious, growth enhancing, supportive, loving experience with. And I'm so happy to say I'm with my soulmate, and I have been for 4 years, and it's nothing compared to the narcissistic abuse in my past. But I needed to become the person who could generate that. So I needed to learn how to show up as authentic and speak up when something was off, and how to choose people and how to be able to do the due diligence. You see, the thing was, Robert, when I used to get into relationships, I used to think it was about shared interests and chemical attraction. But yet, a narcissist, as you have so aptly said, can come into your life and act really interested and into you, but then you could wake up next to that person or even just go on a few dates and you're like, you know what? You're actually not a nice person. And heaven forbid if we do wake up in bed with them and we think, well, I'm attracted to you, I'm in a relationship with you, and now you're just not a nice person. But as thrivers, what we learn, Robert, is the truth about foundational values that are necessary for a relationship. Somebody has to have integrity. They have to be honest. They want to commit. They have to be monogamous. They have to be a person who takes responsibility, addiction free. Absolutely. They have to be somebody who is kind, who is compassionate, who cares for humanity. The list goes on and on. They need to be somebody who is interested in solution building so that when you don't agree with them, that they are mature and solid enough in their own body to be able to have a conversation with you that's win-win and be open to other things. Now, this is the stuff that when we learn, what happens is we cancel people out that do not meet foundational relationship values to even have a foundation with. Nobody taught us this. And it's really interesting because I'm doing a quantum dating boot camp at the moment with a group of thrivers, hundreds of thrivers from all over the world, where we're learning those truths. So you know what you're looking for. And I love what happens as spiritual quantum beings when we decide that that's our truth and that's it. We very easily say, you're not for me. There's better from where you came from. I'm not in lack. I'm in plenty. And Source really hears us and aligns with us and says, okay, I'll bring you a higher vibrational reality here. And what I love about a beautiful love relationship, we only need one person. There's 8 billion people in the planet. There are beautiful people, but we need to know how to identify who's not healthy and who is, and stop trying to fix them and make excuses or think that's the best they'll be, or all the good ones are gone, or all the other limiting beliefs. It's just not true. I hope that can give you some hope. All right. Is there another question? Kurt, I've been dealing with narcissistic abuse for about 2 years now, and it's taking a toll on me. How can I prevent myself from this? Well, Kurt, it's all about healing from the inside. And the reason it is because what happens in narcissistic abuse is our literal inner identity has been fractured, man or woman. It's impactful. So, what happens then is we have an inner identity which has a lot of subconscious beliefs that are in a love code that are around the topic of love. So, for example, love equals or relationship, whatever the relationship was, equals invalidation, it equals abuse, it equals manipulation, it equals trauma, it equals. So that has become our inner identity. Now, what happens is the brain follows the body because your subconscious programs by the age of 35 are responsible for up to about 97% of your life. What you think, what you choose, how you feel, what your chemical processes are inside of your body. So it's your whole entire life force is wrapped around our subconscious programs. Now, if our subconscious programs, Bruce Lipton, who is brilliant with this stuff, he says that this is 40 billion bits per second. It's 97% of our life. Now, what happens is our subconscious programs, once they're programmed, they are running our life on autopilot. The head follows, our brain follows the body. So, therefore, what's going on inside of you with these trauma programs and love code is exactly the thinking that your head is only capable of doing. So we're trying to think our way out of our trauma, but we can't because we keep defaulting back into the bandwidth of the trauma because the head is following the body. It's only around 5% or less of the cognitive power we have. And we drive ourselves crazy because we think, why can't I stop thinking about this? Can't I stop obsessing about this? I'm an intelligent, strong person. Why can't I stop thinking about this? Because you can't. You can't. Your brain is following the body. It happens to everybody. So we have to get into the body to heal the body, to reprogram the program, to release it and bring in that higher power, that super conscious, which is the perfect version of you, which is your high potential. And we all have it set up for us. That needs to come in to replace where that trauma was, to reset you back to who you really are without your trauma. Then your head automatically follows. That's true healing. I'd love you to check out NARP. Okay. And you may go, this feels a bit woohoo. It actually won't feel woohoo. As I'm talking to you, something in your body knows I'm telling the truth. But in our mind, we can go, well, and that's why I want you to check out what I'm sharing with you. Check out NARP. Check out recoverhealthrive.com. Because the proof is in the pudding. This is how I healed myself, and this is how thousands of people from all over the world, go and read the testimonies, have been able to heal for real from the inside out, to the point where there's nothing left to heal. You're free. And you're even more expanded and confident than even before this happened to you. Okay. And thank you, Mind Journal, for putting that up. Check it out. Check out Recover, Heal, Thrive. Okay. I hope that can give you some hope, because I know in narcissistic abuse, spinning your wheels is so painful. And you're like, I'm defective. What is wrong with me? Why can't I heal? And then we go to talk therapy and we research narcissists and we try to find the magic bullet to take away the pain and the obsession and the feeling that we're declining and it's getting worse. But the magic pill is to self-partner, go inside and do the right quantum work to free yourself from this trauma. Then you'll go free. Okay? I hope that gives you hope. All right, next question. Do we have any more questions? Because I'd love to help you with them if we do. Okay? Maybe we don't. And that's okay too. So, oh, Kylie, I've severed my connection with a narcissistic person, but how can I empower myself and heal after narcissistic abuse? So, Kylie, as I was just saying to our gentleman just before, it's about the healing from the inside out. You see, here it is. Kylie, narcissistic abuse is a spiritual war. This is not normal. And if you haven't been through it, nobody could even get what you're going through, because you feel like there's a black ink walking through your veins. You feel like you're psychically possessed. It just doesn't make sense on a logical head cognitive level. And this is why talk therapy is not working for it. And researching narcissists, congratulations, Kylie, for detaching, because that takes massive courage and massive self-partnering. You already doing that. You breaking away. But this is, honey, where the real work begins. Because what we've got in this spiritual battle is you taking back your sanity, your soul, and your life force from the inside out. So what is this spiritual battle about? It's about becoming self-defined, because when we're with narcissists, we're other person defined. We're looking at them for our approval, our love and our security and survival. We're looking at them as to, are they in a bad mood? Are they going to go off the handle? Are they going to abandon me? Are they going to reject me? Are they going to accept me? Are they going to love bomb me? Are they going to contact me? Are they going to do this, and this? So every time we are other defined, we're losing ourselves. So the Thriver recovery is, we come home to self. What is self? Your emotional, somatic, inner being is yourself, not your logical mind. It's your beingness. It's who you are on the inside. So we need to repair that. We need to heal that, so that you can become self-defined, so that you can trust your gut, so you can show up, so you can speak up, so you can lay boundaries. So never again will you be in a position where you would rather lose yourself than another. It'll be different. You will rather lose another than yourself. You never will again, because you will have yourself. This is soul work. This is deeper quantum work. This is cellular work in our beingness. That's what heals. Okay? And it's hard to describe, because it's not like something I can hold in front of you and say, well, there's 2 pounds of this. But what it is the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Program is a 10-step process that I created. It's had 3 upgrades, which is used by people all over the world, and it's recommended by psychologists and doctors and domestic violence workers and all sorts of people, because it is that way that we can get through. And they're meditative experiences in the healings, plus there's a whole 24/7, 365-day a year recovery Thriver Forum, which is master thrivers who have gone through everything describable and come out the other side, as well as people from all over the world who are in there supporting, cheering you on, barracking you, and giving you the true solutions to heal. So you don't have to do this alone. And it's the working with the program in the forum with the incredible support that comes with our community. It's in 130 different countries. It's online, but we are a family. We are, and you get to thrive and recover with your tribe. And it can happen very quickly. Within a few months, you will be feeling like narcissist who 6 to 12 months, your life will be unrecognizable from anything it was even before abuse, and even if abuse is all you've ever known, because you're coming home to you. Okay. So I hope that can give you hope. So check out recoverhealthrive.com. Okay, recoverhealthrive.com, because you can learn more about this work and you can get a free Quanta Freedom Healing. Quanta Freedom Healing is the foundation of this. It heals from the inside out what we can't do logically and through research and talk therapy. Quanta Freedom Healing is the key, and you'll get to learn all about it and experience it as a free healing from that link. So I want to encourage everybody listening to go to that link. Beautiful. All right. Is there any other questions? Kylie, I hope that helps. Okay, Olivia, just a bit curious. I mean, I don't know if I'm being abused by a narcissist or not. Is there any way to know that? That is such a good question, Olivia. And I really want you to know it's actually not important, right? Love, pain, and trauma and love addiction or disappointing relationships can happen really with any relationship when we're with somebody who doesn't share our core values. Okay, so we could say, is it a psychopath? Is it a sociopath? Is it a narcissist? Is it a covert narcissist? Is it an overt narcissist? Is it somebody who's just selfish? Is it somebody who's unavailable? Is it just, what is it? The truth is, Olivia, if our core values are really about who we are and what we want in a relationship. And any healthy relationship needs honesty, kindness, integrity, commitment. And it also needs solution building, and it needs some healthy characteristics. And what happens is, if we're in relationship with somebody who, now we need to be anchored in those core values ourselves. We really do. And if we're with somebody who doesn't share our core values, we don't even have a platform for a relationship. And love pain is one of the most difficult traumas. But let's say, Olivia, I want to normalize this for you. Let's say you're into healthy food and exercise, and you're with a lovely person who eats ice cream on the couch and watches Netflix. You're trying to get them off the couch to come with you. They're trying to get you on the couch to eat ice cream. You're now in a toxic relationship. You're in a power struggle because both of you didn't choose people who were aligned with you and the truth you want to live. And therefore, what happens is we're in a power struggle trying to fix and change people to make them who we want them to be, to make ourselves happy. But I want you to know, in my work and in my Thriver community, it doesn't matter whether you're with a narcissist or not, because we sort all of this stuff out. I hope that makes sense. All right, next question. Next question, if there is one. All right, so maybe we are done. Maybe we're done. And, thank you. Thank you again, Mind Journal, for having me. It's been an absolute honor to come on and have this little chat. It's such a big topic. It's such an important topic. Sadly, narcissistic abuse is an epidemic. No, and it's been going through a lot of generations. And I hope that, people listening can have some hope, not just for you, but also for your children going forward, with you leading the way with consciousness and awareness and healing from the inside out, because the knock on effect to our future generations is beyond powerful. It really is. So, thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to anybody who has been here. Please come over to my website, check out my website, have a look at recoverhealthrive.com, also the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Program, and how that has been the signature healing program that has healed so many people from all over the world, the things that they just could not heal any other way. And I hope my talk has made sense. All right, Mind Journal, thank you so much for having me, and lots of love, and wishing you all blessings and healing and a thriver recovery. Bye bye.